defender to make a tackle from behind has to be so perfect, let alone that was the sloppiest tackle of all time. He stuck his leg in between there, and
But we're just going to talk about the controversy of the penalty that wasn't given, because Inzaghi had to say this after the game. Well, we'll have a look at it first. I mean, it is crazy, isn't it? Our rules expert, Christina Unkel, said that because Theo is there, you have to use a bigger context of the entire play that happened, which is why the penalty wasn't given, and in her eyes, why the decision was right. But Inzaghi, after the match, had to say this. He was understandably really frustrated about the situation and said, in as many words, we managed to draw a game after hitting the post 3 times, having 3 goals called off and a clear penalty not called. It's impossible not to give this penalty. It's possible that the referee didn't see it because of Theo, but those who are seated, the VAR referees, can't not call the referee over. I mean,
that's a fact. Whether you think it's a penalty or not, that's an absolute fact. You're going to tell me, unless you're an alien, you're from another planet, you saw that clearly. Because that was one that you needed to go to the monitor and check, regardless if you think it's a penalty or not, regardless if you want to get into the next layer of Theo's there, Theo's not there. I mean, we could make the argument that Thuram could have clipped it over Theo. I mean, we could, right? So for me, it has to be a situation that the referee has to go to the monitor and then at least make a decision. That's step one. Step two is, as soon as an attacker gets into that position on a defender and there's any contact, let alone sticking a leg between his legs, it's a foul. And for me, is it a foul or is it not a foul, right? Because what we're hearing is that it's not. Some of the referees are saying, well, it's not a foul because Theo's there. But what's that got to do with it being a foul or not? So, and then we were told that if Theo's not there, it is a foul. So what is it? If it's a foul, it doesn't matter where Theo is or where Mañana is or where you know,
but her point
anybody is
that context is important. I'm with you, Grella, but her point was that context is important, and because Theo was there, that does in fact change how it played out, which for us sitting here is difficult to understand.
Yeah, I heard the word assumption used during that conversation, and that's where it gets a little cloudy for me. Assumption, as you said, how come we can't assume that Thuram is going to chip the ball over Theo? We didn't give him a chance to do it because he got fouled,
and he was already falling over.
And then we also asked after the fact in the green room, if it were called a penalty kick, could they come back and probably overturn it? Now they said the threshold of where they would intervene is not high enough, so no, it would have been a penalty kick, which leads me to believe then it's a penalty kick. Like, I don't know. Look, I'm the biggest Milan rooter, but we were sat here, and the first thing we both said, penalty. 100% for me.
If Marco, there's a corner kick, and Marco grabs me. Go ahead, give me a hug. Just give me a hug. Yeah, we can stand.
All right.
And Marco pulls me down like this. Yeah, all right, fine. You want to pull me down like that?
Yeah.
All right.
Smash your head again.
And now he's pulling me down, and the ball goes up into Tony Meola's hands, but I get taken down by him.
Foul.
It doesn't matter if I could have headed that ball or not.
Yeah.
It's a foul because he's pulled me down inside the area, right? So why does it matter where Theo is? If it's a foul, it's a foul, and that's why for me that one was clear as day. And I feel for Inzaghi and I feel for Inter in that situation.
Also, I feel like Inzaghi doesn't really complain that much. At least to my knowledge, anytime I hear Inzaghi, he's not one to come out and say a lot of stuff. There's a lot of coaches. I mean, Fabregas and Gasperini were fighting the other day saying, oh, he wants every call. For me, Inzaghi is always pretty calculated. He doesn't really complain too much. So when he does complain, it usually is for a good call.
Yeah.
And I also think we have such a perfect angle. It's such a great angle. Sometimes we have bad angles. This one from behind, we could tell in a second. So we wish that the VAR, who has the same images that we have, could have witnessed this. And I know none of us are disagreeing here. It's just, for me, frustrating that we could all sit here and all think that this has to be given as a penalty.
You know, what's frustrating to me is that we got this beautiful derby match, right? And two teams, okay, we can argue about tactics all we want and who was better and who wasn't better, but two teams that clearly have a passion for playing against each other. It's a stadium that is one of the best stadiums in the world. I always use the word heavy. It always feels heavy, the game, right? And we're talking about a referee decision to change the game. That's what world football has become. And because we have VAR, we think, okay, everything is going to be right all the time. Everything is going to be corrected all the time. And we now know that that's not necessarily the case. But don't take away from what the game was for both sides. I think what we saw is this Inter side, Poppy, is pretty damn good.
Yeah.
Okay, they didn't score the second goal today, but I think you saw they got a lot of pieces.
I think what's frustrating is just the fact that it could have been put right. You know, like what people get, you know, get frustrated with offsides a lot where, oh, well, it was off by a toe. But the fact is it was offside. In this situation, we know that VAR can step in and look at penalties. There's not all aspects of the game where VAR can step in and overturn things, but this is one of them, and it didn't happen.
And the referee never got an opportunity to look at it. That's why I'm saying in those situations, I know, listen, like, you know, I'll get some stick now for mentioning the NFL here, but I'll mention the NFL. They're one of the best sports organizations in the world. You get an angle of every single replay, every scoring play, every big play is reviewed, right? Why not blow the whistle as a referee and just let the referee go there and look at it? Call it a penalty. You can always go look at it and say, okay, if it's not a penalty, it's not a penalty. That's the level we should be at with the technology that we have.
Shouldn't need to get to that point, though, because the VAR is checking everything, and they're going to tell the referee, hey, I have this play, you might want to go check it. That's how it's supposed to work in an ideal world. I'm not saying it always does work, but ideally, he shouldn't even need to do that.
The other thing is, that's one of the beautiful parts of the game. Thuram knows that he has more pace than Pavlovic. Pavlovic is trying not to concede that space in the inside of the field for him. They go for, I told you, the Apollo Creed, Rocky Balboa run down the beach. They're flying 50 yards. Thuram, he does so well to just get in front of Pavlovic. Pavlovic now can no longer make contact with him.
And
That's it.
He's
earned that space.
Right?
He's earned that space. So that means in the middle of the field, if somebody gets in front of me and I have help coming, so somebody, the attacker gets in front of me, Marco, no, because you hurt my neck, actually. If somebody gets in front of me, because I see my buddy Marco coming to tackle him, I can smash him from behind. And so, well, my buddy Marco was there.
Tony
he was going to tackle him anyway. He tackled him, so I can smash him from behind.
Yeah.
Tony made a great point, because some said, oh, is it soft contact? But when you're running at that speed, Tony said, hey, yo, let me hear your leg when you're going at that speed. It's just a little bit to throw you completely off balance.
But that's what strikers do, isn't it? They get in front of the defender knowing that they have to then back off and either give up a penalty.
It's an art of the game.
They can't.
It's an art of the game. For him to make it, from any defender to make a tackle from behind has to be so perfect, let alone that was the sloppiest tackle of all time. He stuck his leg in between there. And
by the way, earlier, 2 Pavard tackles from behind, right, which were spot on.
Yes, that touched the ball.
Incredible.
Yeah, okay. Well, Inter probably will feel unlucky, won't they, in some ways with that decision.
And you think that Summer, he thinks Summer's younger than him.
Today. I walked out and Grella went, shoulder barge me, let me see how strong you are. And now he's crying about it.
You think Summer would have had a neck cramp from that?
I don't think so.